Right, I think it's the time to start the session. After a wonderful session yesterday, Dasgiri sir is back again for another session today. Sir, I welcome you again for the fourth day session. You can start the session now.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. Once again. So this is a project that I have done at NUS, National University of Singapore, which was funded by Energy Market Authority and NRF, Prime Minister Office, Singapore. So basically, the idea was if there is an existing AC grid, and now if you want to integrate another AC source into AC grid, because all of a sudden you cannot come up with a complete DC grid, you cannot demolish all the existing AC grids. So if you want to do something in the existing AC grid, how to do that? So that is the idea behind this project. So that is why the title says smart integration of multiple renewable energy sources to AC grid. Mostly we'll be talking about standalone AC grids because there are many islands near Singapore and there are many industries which are there. So I'll skip most of the introduction part so that we can directly jump into the control. But just to give you what is the background, so there are many industries working offshore. Like in Singapore, there will be many islands, and Indonesia there are many islands. So for that, the project idea is to propose a standalone microgrids, which can be AC or DC. Okay, so before going into the main topic, let us understand a few terminology that I'm going to use. So let's talk about a strong grid. We all know what is strong grid. So it has its voltage and frequency, and its theta. Generally, we take it as a reference. So it won't change theta for you. So that is about strong grid. So its voltage and frequency are fixed, and theta, we generally take this as a reference when you want to go and integrate with the existing grid. So this is generally a utility grid. We generally take this as a utility grid, right? And we also know that if there is a weak grid come and join this strong grid, what happens? The voltage and frequency which are available here will still says fixed, because it cannot, the weak grid cannot influence the strong grid. Influence in the sense it cannot affect the voltage and frequency and theta of a strong grid. Now when it comes to the smart grid, smart source, I can say, so we generally talk about voltage source inverter, where you can vary voltage, you can vary frequency, you can vary theta, you can generate anything, you can generate any magnitude of voltage, you can change your frequency, and you can adjust your theta as well. So now we generally proposed, we use the battery banks here to support this voltage source inverter and try to connect this strong grid and weak grid. So this will act as a interface between the strong and weak grids. So how to do that? That is why the title in the brochure says battery energy storage for seamless transition of AC grids. So that is another way I can say the title. So we are going to use this smart guy to make these two people, that is which is strong, one is weak, to interact with each other. I mean the plug in and plug out. So let's come to this weak guy. Who is this? It's generally a PV source or a wind, any renewable energy source where its voltage and frequency depends on many factors, depends on what is the incoming wind. As we know, let's take a wind, fixed with wind. So you have variable voltage, variable frequency. Of course, theta is according to its own theta, it has some value, but generally that is not enough to integrate with the existing grid. So you need to have a this theta should be reflected here, but that is not possible because it cannot adjust its theta. So what to do? You have to use this smart guy, adjust your voltage, your frequency and theta. First bring this guy, so you interact these two, smart grid and weak grid, and then you make this weak grid follow whatever is decided by the smart guy. So he will adjust its voltage, frequency and theta, go and sync with this weak grid. Okay. So what is syncing? You have to adjust voltage, frequency and theta, and then you bring back to nominal values. Once you go sync, then you bring back the nominal values, because you can adjust anything with this smart source, right? So now once you change these values v and f theta after synchronization, this weak grid will definitely follow you, because it is a weak grid. So you can make this weak grid follow you. Now once it started following this, now what you can do, you can look at the strong eye and see what is its voltage, frequency and theta. Now you adjust voltage and frequency theta. Now because these two are same now, these two are already integrated. So now when you change this voltage, frequency and theta with respect to the strong grid, then obviously you can make three source can go in parallel. So that is the main idea behind the entire seminar that I'm going to give. So if there are any doubts here, we can clarify it here now itself. Then we can proceed to the setup, what we have exactly considered, and in what way you can achieve this. So once again, let me revise this. So there is a strong grid, that is utility, whose voltage, frequency and theta cannot be changed. So it won't change its voltage, frequency and theta for you. So you have to take these as references and try to sync with this strong grid. Now there is a smart guy who is a voltage source inverter who can adjust its voltage, frequency and theta. So we are going to use this smart guy to make the interaction between strong and weak guy. So what is the weak grid that I'm considering here is a wind. So if the wind speed changes, then the voltage, frequency will change. And because it is already a variable source, variable voltage, variable frequency, it cannot directly go and sync with a strong grid without any power electronic converter. If there is a power electronic converter with this guy, then it may be possible. If there is no power electronic converter, then you can use this guy. So another idea is to reduce the number of power electronic converters in the system. So why to use so many power electronic converter? Why don't you rely on one smart converter and then make all this plug in and plug out? So that is what the main idea behind this. And there is one more concept here, that is let's stop here and just see if there are any questions. And you can ask me why it is low impedance, because it is a strong. Why I represented this as a resistance, I hope you all know, because it is a converter based generation. So generally it will be represented as a resistance, not inductance. And this is a weak grid, you have a very large impedance. Okay, so there is one more concept here, where if the generator or the generation has more inductive nature, I mean if the voltage in comes with series inductive, then in those scenarios your voltage will be linked to your reactive power and your frequency is linked to the theta. Okay, but or I can say this is active power. Okay, but when it comes to resistive based network, then your voltage will be linked to power and your frequency will be linked to reactive power, or I could say both are linked to voltage itself. So the relation changes. So when you want to go and integrate with the strong grid or weak grid, you need to make you need to understand this. The voltage, if you want to adjust voltage, you have to adjust reactive power compensation. If you want to adjust frequency, then you have to control your active power injection. But when it comes to a source which is resistive in nature, I mean a source with in series with the resistance, then both your P and Q are linked to voltage alone. Both your P and Q are linked to voltage alone. So there is this kind of differences between three different sources. So that is why you need to act smart what you are doing, what you are trying to do. So whether you are talking to a strong guy where V is linked to Q and your frequency is linked to P, or whether you are talking about a converter where both P and Q are linked to voltage alone. So with this simple introduction, I just want to jump into the topic. I'll stop here and open for any questions here.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, here theta in the VSI, how it is going to controlling, sir? VSI.
Yeah, you have your own reference here. I'm sorry. Let me clear this markings. I don't know how to do that. Okay, let's take another slide. Okay.
Okay.
So when you have a voltage source inverter, okay, VSI, you generally generate your own sine wave reference, right? So you can adjust this magnitude and you can adjust the frequency. It can be 50 hertz, it can be 60 hertz, and it can be in between this also. You can adjust anything. Okay. Now, if, you asked me about theta, right? Theta or sine?
Theta, sir, theta.
Okay. So in general, if you start in simulation, generally it starts with this. Okay. So now if you have some reference, then it will be m sine 120 plus theta, 240 plus theta, something is there, right? So there will be some
Yes.
theta here. Generally it will be 0 before you start. Now you have to add some value to this. You replace this theta with some value. That's how you can change this theta.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this m represents the modulation index where you can control
Modulation index.
magnitude.
Yes.
Yeah. So any other questions? And there is one more concept. If there is a grid, okay, and it is already feeding a load, and your VSI wants to go and join this guy, you can just turn on your PLL and it is possible. It is very easy. However, when your VSI is already feeding a load, now you want to integrate with this grid, then a simple PLL cannot work. So when the converter is not feeding anything, you can go and join any grid by turning on your PLL. But when you are already feeding a load with certain voltage, frequency, and theta can be 0. Generally, it should be 0 when you are alone. Okay. So now if you want to integrate with existing grid, so there will be V1, F1, and theta 1. So if you turn on PLL, what happens? Let's say your sine wave is like this. So you are already generating this sine wave with this voltage source inverter. When you turn on PLL, what happens? It will get new reference of sine wave. So the new reference can be anything. So it can be, worst case, it can be like this. So see the jump in the voltage. So at that instant of changing this reference, there will be a huge exchange of P and Q, and generally it will trip your converter at that instant if it is not properly synchronized. There is a scenario like probability, the sine wave which are already regenerating, the white color one, can be masked with the red color one, then there will be no issue. But that may happen very rare. But most of the time there will be some difference in magnitude. You take any two sine waves, okay, and let's take this sine wave. Okay, you got this reference from PLL. So again, there is, you see the magnitude at every instant. So you see the phase difference. There is a phase difference theta that will reflect in P. There is a difference in magnitude at that instant. Okay, instantaneously. Then that will reflect in Q. So there will be huge exchange of P and Q. The grid is a strong guy, so he can handle that much of current and voltage, P and Q. but your VSI is generally rated in terms of MVA. It generally crosses that limited power that is available with your voltage source converter. Then it will go into overcurrent or over voltage mode. Then it will trip. So you cannot integrate this. So this is another thing. So when you are not feeding anything, you can turn on your PLL and then go and sync with the any grid. Let it be any grid, strong or weak, anything. But if the converter is already feeding a load, then you cannot simply turn on PLL and go and integrate with the some grid, because there will be a instantaneous changes in the two references that the converter gets. So this is also one important thing that you need to make sure. If the converter is already feeding a load, then you cannot turn on PLL, simply turn on PLL and go and integrate to certain grid. And if you see any inverter which is already there in the market, if you purchase grid tie inverter, it cannot feed your local load. If you purchase inverter for your home appliances, it cannot integrate to the grid. Yeah, you take any company in India, if you purchase solar grid tie inverter, it will work only if the grid is there. If the grid is not there, then it will generally turn off. You cannot utilize your PV source. Any doubts here? I'm sorry about this writing. So I'm trying to write on the screen, so it is difficult.
Okay, sir. Okay.
No
doubt.
Sir, you can continue this Blackboard experience also. I think no more questions. We can continue the session.
Okay.
Sir,
Fine.
excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, just now you told me that whenever we purchase grid-tied inverter means obviously when there is a grid available, then that place only the inverter will works, right, sir?
Yes. Yes.
But in our institutes, automatically the solar power is operated as a standalone.
Maybe
Standalone.
Emerson only in standalone, only in grid.
No, sir. Standalone mode as well as grid connected mode also available in our college, sir.
Okay. What is the make?
I also don't know, sir.
Okay. But it will trip and then it will go generally. If there
Okay,
is
sir.
it is not a smooth transition.
Okay.
There are some companies they have manufactured something like this. So when there is a grid trip, then the
Okay.
inverter also trips and then it starts again. It's not like the load will be interrupted at that instant. You can observe.
Whenever the inverter trips, automatically the load will be tripped, right, sir?
Yes. So that means there is interruption to your load, right?
Okay. So in that case also we are going to use the same inverter, sir. Standalone mode as well as a grid connected mode also.
That is another issue that is also we are going to address here. So why they are tripping? Because of these issues.
Okay, sir.
Because of these issues, they'll trip the converter and then they'll start it again.
Okay.
So that means your critical load, if there are some critical loads like hospitals or some critical loads are there, then it will be interrupted for that short moment and then it will come back.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, as I said, this is just the introduction. There are many islands, so they need standalone AC grids, standalone DC grids, whatever they want. So there are many islands around in this locality, so they are concentrating on this. So that is why there is a huge funding to develop this kind of strategies, come up with the different ideas to make this plug in and plug out. Okay, so I'll skip this introduction because everyone knows. We know that there is a difficulty in extension grid because there is island, so you cannot install the right of way to reach the main power to that island. So that is why a standalone microgrid or hybrid generation is the only option we have. Then when there are like more arbitrary things are there, then you need to plug in and plug out. So sometimes wind may be there, sometimes solar may be or may not be there, and then you need to turn on diesel generator. So how to manage these kind of transitions without interrupting the supply to the critical load, and every transition should be very smooth. So let us consider this AC microgrid, which is islanded. So we have this smart voltage source converter, which can adjust its voltage, frequency, and theta. So we supported this with batteries. Okay. Now you have single phase loads or three phase loads. You have wind or hydro or bio, whatever it is. We are making this as optional. We are saying you can make this as optional power electronic converter. If you already have a power electronic converter, then fine. We'll try to manage with these two converters. If you don't have and you are trying to install a new thing, then you don't need this one. We'll try to manage with this one. So that is what the proposal we made. Then there'll be diesel generator, and another distribution generation, that is PV or fuel cell, etc. That generally comes with some power electronic converter, because that is a DC generation. So definitely you have to convert that into AC. So we cannot skip a inverter. Now, if the diesel generator comes into picture, when it will comes into picture, if there is no renewable energy generation and the battery is already discharged to a level which set by you, then there is no other option. You have to bring in diesel generator. So when diesel generator comes in, what you have to do? So how to bring in diesel generator first of all? So because we know that diesel generator has some governor controls, it can adjust its voltage and frequency, but not theta. So but this battery converter can adjust theta. So you cannot simply bring in this diesel generator just like that. As I said, you should not interrupt the critical loads. So now if there is a possibility in future, it may be possible that there will be HVDC transition or subsea transmission happens, and then grid may also come there. So assuming all these scenarios, so we decided to control this battery energy storage system, that is the voltage source converter, to make all this transition possible. So that is the main idea behind this proposal. It can be islanded mode, it can be a grid connected mode. Still, we use the same converter to make all the transitions possible. Okay, so when you are alone, BES is battery energy source. So that's the terminology. So when you are alone, there is only one option. You can control this guy. Only one option. There is no other go. If the utility comes again, you need to control the same converter. There is no other option. If diesel generator comes in, again you have to control the same converter, because there are some controls available with governor control, but still you can rely on this converter alone. Then with the generator comes, if there are two power electronic converters, then we can have some coordinated control. So that's how you can make it possible. If there is no power electronic converter, then we try to control this converter and use some dump load. We'll see how that happens. So this is how all the modes is explained. Even when both are there, when wind and diesel both are there, you have only one option. You have to control this converter. Now, when you want to control this converter in these different scenarios, when battery alone is there, when wind and battery is there, when battery and diesel is there, when wind diesel is there. So when these things like comes in and go out. So you need to see when they come in, it should be properly coming in and joining the AC grid. When they want to go out, definitely it should be a smoother one. So how to do all these transitions is what we are trying to discuss here. As we all know, if there are two sources, this is a two machine model. We know that this formula for power exchange, that is VB, VW or VPCC into sine delta by X, and we know this reactive power, everyone knows this. So in simple words, we can say that if you change delta, you can control active power. if you change the magnitude difference, then you can control your reactive power. So there will be decoupling terms which can take care of the rest of the equations. So finally, this is how you can operate if you are able to control your voltage, frequency, and theta. Of course, frequency is indirectly affecting theta. So if you integrate frequency, then you get theta, right? So it is like V and theta. So if you want to be a inject power as well as reactive power, then your battery voltage should be higher than the PCC voltage, and the phase angle should be leading. So if you can generate a voltage magnitude which is higher than PCC voltage, and if you can make this theta leading, then you can inject P and Q both. Okay. So similarly, if you still maintain the phase angle but reduce the magnitude, then what you can do, you can inject active power, you can draw reactive power. The same thing in the coming to third quadrant. So if you have reduced your voltage as well as your phase angle is delayed, then you consume both active and reactive power. The same thing, you consume active power but your voltage is higher. So what is that mean? You are giving Q. So you are taking P and giving Q. So these are the possible operations with controlling voltage magnitude and theta. So we all know that, just I have discussed, P is linked to frequency, Q is linked to voltage. This is only valid if the generation is more inductive in nature. Okay, all generators, diesel generators, everything, the inductance is more than the resistance. So P is linked to frequency and Q is linked to voltage. But when it comes to converter based, then both are linked either in opposite way, or mostly both P and Q linked to voltage alone. But to control anything, you can control delta, because we all know that if you control delta, you can control P. If you control the modulation index, then you can control voltage. So the whole control strategy is designed to adjust theta and modulation index. So we don't worry about what is happening with whether P is linked to Q or P is linked to frequency or P is linked to voltage. So we generally take this delta and M and try to control everything. So what is the control scheme here? You need to maintain voltage and frequency because you are the only source available here. So you have to maintain the voltage and frequency. So it will run in VF mode. So when I say VF mode, do you really need frequency control? Because it is a converter, your frequency is set by your sinusoidal reference. So you can just control voltage alone. So you don't need to worry about frequency loop. So there is no need of frequency loop here, just voltage is sufficient. So you can just adjust your voltage so that you can maintain this. When it comes to grid, when the grid comes into picture, then what happens? You generally turn on your PLL, you get your P reference and Q reference, and then you adjust. So this is grid following mode. But previously it is grid forming mode. In previous case, before grid, this is when battery alone is there, that is called as grid forming mode. Grid forming mode is nothing but you are the one maintaining voltage and frequency. Grid forming is nothing but you are the one maintaining voltage and frequency. Grid following is you follow some frequency, some voltage set by someone. So then based on that you get your P reference and Q reference. So accordingly you can do this control loop, and finally this P error after PA controller goes to theta reference and Q reference goes to modulation index. Now, if the diesel generator comes into picture, we also follow the same thing, because the diesel generator has capability of adjusting its voltage and frequency, but it cannot follow P and Q. It cannot you cannot give command to this diesel generator to inject this much P and this much Q. So generally what you have to do, you have to make this diesel generator control the voltage and frequency of the PCC. Then you go into another mode, that is either grid supporting mode. Either you give some support to the diesel generator, or you try to give Q, support reactive power, take active power to charge your battery. So you can use that mode of operation. You can inject reactive power support, but you can take active power from the diesel generator and charge your battery. You know why? We asked the diesel generator to come into picture because your battery is almost discharged. So now once the diesel generator comes in, then you try to charge the battery. So you don't need to inject any active power. You just have to inject reactive power and then try to take the active power and charge your battery. So that's how you end up in PQ control mode again. But after coming, what we are supposed to do, that is what we are discussing here. But when it wants to come in that transition part, we are yet to come. Now when the wind comes again, you can control this converter. How to control here? It will be named as grid supporting mode. So wind starts with some speed, okay, then with that speed you get different voltage and different frequency, which may not be suitable for PCC, okay. Then you add some dump load, okay. When you add some dump load, you have to pre model this dump loads. So if the speed is this much, then this is the dump load that you are supposed to use. So you have to form a lookup table, and accordingly you need to control this dump loads, which dump load should come when the speed is this much. So when you do that, your voltage of wind VW and F of W can be in the voltage regulation and frequency regulation norms. You know, voltage regulation can be plus or minus 10%, and frequency can be plus or minus 1% or 2%, depends on countries. Okay, so when you bring that into some reasonable range, and then you adjust this nominal voltage. Let's say it is running at 415 and this guy is running at 400. Okay, now you can adjust your voltage and frequency, then match this one, then you can close this breaker. I mean, the converter can command this breaker to close. So once it is closed, then what you can do, you can adjust your voltage and frequency back to nominal values, and this wind generator will definitely follow you. Okay, so now if there is a change in wind velocity, then accordingly the P and Q will be changed. Now when you are already synced, okay, when you are already synced, now there is a scenario, the wind speed has reduced. Then what happens? You cannot detect it because you are already synced with this one. So you cannot monitor VW alone because it is already synced. Then how to detect that, whether wind is generating reactive power or not, how to do that? So you can simply rely on P measurement. So if the P is positive, that means it is injecting. If P is negative, that means your generator is acting as a motor. So whenever you see P is going less than some value, or let's fix at 0 or negative, when it goes negative, that means there is very less wind velocity and you have to take off your wind generator. So you can command the circuit breaker to open it. So that's how you can rely on some few measurements and see what is happening with the wind. So this is what called grid supporting mode. So why it is called grid supporting mode? Because you are supporting this wind generator to come and join the grid. So that is why we named it as grid supporting mode. So the name can be anything, but what is happening here is you are helping this wind generator to come and join the grid. And if there is a change in wind velocities, if it is going negative power, then you can trip this. So that is what happening in the control scheme of this VSI. So this is, as I already said, we are naming this as grid supporting mode. So in this, what we generally do, we adjust voltage and frequency. This is what I explained exactly. So this is the flow chart. So when there is a change in wind velocity, there will be a disturbance in VPCC as well as frequency. Then finally, you have to change, you have to see what is Q and what is P and balance the P and Q across PCC. So then you have to restore VPCC and frequency. So this is what the steps that you follow in grid supporting mode. Now, once it is synced, as I said, again, you can go back to grid forming mode. So grid supporting mode is only to the moment you bring in and make the wind generator join the PCC. Once it joined, then definitely you have to go back to grid forming mode, because you are the one who is supposed to maintain voltage and frequency. So how grid forming mode, again, same thing. After grid forming mode, this is how it is explained in flowchart. After synchronization, when there is a change in wind velocity, there will be a change in Q and P, and you can control your voltage and see that whether the P is going negative or not. So accordingly, you can disconnect this wind. Now, you are already with the battery and wind. Now, if you want to bring diesel generator, why you want to bring diesel generator? Maybe there is a very less power available with the wind, the speed is very less, and the battery is almost discharged because you are already feeding some critical loads and non-critical loads. First, you can turn off non-critical load, then you just only feed critical load. But somehow the power from wind and the battery is not sufficient to meet the critical load anymore. Then you ask the diesel generator to come in. Now what you are supposed to do in the same scenario, what I said, the converter is already feeding a critical load. You cannot trip and turn on your PLL and join the diesel generator. You have to adjust voltage and frequency according to this diesel generator. But fortunately, this diesel generator itself has some control. So it will adjust its voltage and frequency to an reasonable values. Let's say 415 means 415 you can adjust. So once it adjusts, now you need to take care of about only theta. So in previous case, when you want to bring in wind, you have to adjust voltage, frequency and theta, all the three. But when you want to bring diesel generator, thanks to the governor control, it can adjust its voltage and frequency, but you have to take care of the phase angle difference. So you get phase angle difference command to this converter, then you adjust your phase angle difference, then you are ready to sync with that. Once it is synced, then again you have to go back to what mode, because this can maintain voltage and frequency, and this converter has to go in PQ control mode. You just give what is the P and Q demand. That's it. Okay. So what you are trying to do here, so you adjust voltage and frequency. If the governor is not able to do that, you can do that as well. But more or less after doing that, you were in grid forming mode, then you end up in grid following mode. So you have to change your mode once it comes in. So to bring in, what you have to do, you have to adjust the phase angle difference. And I hope you all know how a 2 or 3 generators generally used to sync in olden days. Let me just tell you, I hope you know racking angle control. There is something called racking angle control. This is quite old technique. They call it as racking angle control. So what they do is, if you have a rotating generator, if you have another rotating generator, then with excitation control, you can adjust voltage and frequency. You can control the speed of the rotor. But what about thetas? There will be theta 1 and theta 2. So V1, F1, V2, F2 can be adjusted with your excitation and governor controls. Excitation control and your speed of the motor. But how to sync this thetas? So what they used to do is, they used to adjust the stator itself. They used to move the stator itself, rotate by special arrangement. They used to control the stator. They will move the stator so that your load angle will be changed. That is how they used to do in olden days. But it is not required now, because you have a smart converters which can adjust this theta for you. Fine, then now we already discussed many control modes, how to do that. So what are the possible transitions you can expect? So these are the possible transitions you can expect. Let's start with number 7. So When battery alone will be there, maybe wind wants to come, so there will be another mode. So there is a transition here. Then when wind and battery are feeding load, but it is not sufficient enough to meet the critical load, then you have to order diesel generator. So it will come back. So you have to make this transition as well. Then once the battery is completely discharged, the battery maybe it has to take some break, so it can go back. So battery converter can also go back. Only wind and diesel can still run. And from here there will be another transition. So you can see all the possible transition. Let's say 3 and 6. 3, what is 3? All the 3 are running, and the wind has started consuming power. That means the wind speed has reduced, and the wind generator started acting as a motor. Then you have to trip that one. So these are all possible. These are the modes which are in blue colors. The 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are modes. Mode in the sense that is operating. These two are operating. These two are operating. This transition is this green lines, where if you want to bring diesel generator, if you want to take out diesel generator, what you have to do, that is what called transition. And we have noted the few things. Uncontrolled operation. If you want to start with only wind, you cannot feed your critical load, because if you start with wind, you know it will be variable voltage and variable frequency. So generally you cannot feed any critical load with variable voltage and variable frequency. So it is not suggested thing, it because it is not controlled. And there is undesired transition. If you see yellow thing, from 3 to 5. So wind and diesel are there. Both wants to turn off immediately, and only battery has to come back. So in that scenario, what will be happening with the converter control? So your diesel generator was the one maintaining voltage and frequency, and wind is just following voltage and frequency. Both trips. Then what happens? The battery converter was in uh, feeding mode, PQ control mode, but all of a sudden it has to change back to grid forming mode, PQ mode to grid forming mode. So there may be an issue with that. So because it is giving P and Q, suddenly there is no PQ, P command, Q command. Sometimes the converter will give you 0P and 0Q. So the converter may see that, okay, I need to give just P, 0P and 0Q. So which is not true. So there may be a problem with that. This can be controlled by tertiary control levels. If you add another control layer, then it is possible. Another control layer in the sense you just monitor whether this is available, then you can do that. And there is another method after this project. We have come up with another method that maybe we'll discuss later on. I don't want to confuse too much. Okay. So these are all possible transitions possible. And what is the triggering event? I hope you all know what is this. So this table says what is W alone. W alone means this is not operating, battery is not operating, and diesel is not operating, only wind is operating. So that's how this is explained here. And what is the mode? When the wind and battery are there, so wind will feed P, draw Q. So it needs some reactive power, so it will draw Q. And battery will be in grid forming mode. Either it will charge or discharge. If the wind power is more, it may charge. If the wind power is less, both wind and battery will try to feed the critical load. So that is why it is a charge and discharge. So you can go through all these tables and see. Let's go with the number 7. That means only battery is operating. These two are not operating, and you have to be in grid forming mode. So the modes are clearly explained here in this table. Now you can ask me like why these transitions are possible. What is the events that cause these transitions? We all know one thing about the wind is rise in wind velocity, drop in wind velocity. That is one event. And for battery there is a state of charge. So the state of charge may go high. It is fully charged. Then you cannot do anything. You have to trip it. Otherwise the battery life will get affected, as discussed yesterday. Then there will be under depth of discharge limit also. If the battery is completely discharged, then again you need to take a decision to disconnect your battery. So that is the these are few events that trigger these scenarios. So we considered some parameters, and this is the flow chart we derived. Whatever I said in words will be given in this flow chart. So you start, then you see the state of charge. If the state of charge is reasonable value, then you start BES first. So why BES? Because that is the controlled operation. When you have battery converter, when you have a voltage source converter, that is good to start. So you start with that one. How to start that one? Just it is simple. Whether it is if it is already on, so there are some loop checkings will be there. It will be confusing because this will be there in the bigger picture also. So every time you need to check whether it is already on or not. So if you ask me like the command itself says start BES, then why are you checking whether it is already on or not? Because we don't know whether this is the start of scenario, because we have shown so many transitions. We don't know from where this transition is happening. So that is why, so you can see here, if you are starting from here, if you are going with one path, then it is okay. We know all the paths, but we don't know from where 7 has come, either from 2 to 7 or 6 to 7 or maybe 4 to 7. We don't know when it happened. So that is why we have to integrate everything in the algorithm. So we need to always check whether it is already on or not. Then you have to set your modulation index, set your frequency, and you need to start the converter, start firing the pulses, and then try to maintain your voltage and frequency. Now if you want to bring in wind, so you start the wind, see voltage is built up. Then if the voltage is built up, see whether it is in the range of this regulation. If not, try to add or reduce the dump loads. So you be in this loop as long as your wind voltage and wind frequency are in this range, and then you change the VPCC of the to these values by using battery converter, then adjust your theta, then try to connect it. Okay. Now you set back the nominal values. And finally, dump load should be off after that. So that's how you make this transition. So this is a simulation result. I'll just go into experimental result because of time constraints. Okay. So these are the events that we simulated. So we started with the battery. Okay. Then battery started feeding the loads. Okay. Critical load is on and wind velocity raised. We turned on some dump load. Then wind velocity reaches some nominal values. Then we adjusted the PCC. We adjusted since it is automatic process. Okay, so the battery frequency will be adjusted, phase angle difference sampled and then reduced. It will adjust this one. Then here we synced both. Now what happens if the wind velocity rises, if wind velocity slows down, there will be a change in P and Q. So you manage with turn on non-critical loads or turn off non-critical loads, or you charge the battery or you discharge the battery. This happens just based on power management system. And we also have done this experimental setup. This picture is taken in panoramic view, so that is why it looked like this. So it looked like a curve, but it's like a room. So we took it in panoramic view. We can see critical load, non-critical loads, and this is the smart converter. We use this Siemens general purpose converter. Battery banks we emulated with a DC source, okay, battery emulator. We also have emulated the diesel generator also, because in Singapore there are so many restrictions. You cannot just test something with the direct grid. So we considered another voltage source as a grid, and also it can emulate the diesel generator. And this is the SCIZ. These are some dump loads here next to that. Okay, so this is the full setup, and we controlled everything in D space. So this is the full experimentation that we have done. So we can see here the wind, the battery's converter is running. That is pink waveform. that is voltage of battery is running and feeding the load, and this blue one is rising. So that is like when wind velocity rises, it start building up voltage. Now you need to start the synchronization procedure. What is the synchronization procedure? You need to adjust, you need to turn on dump load, try to bring into some value. See, when the dump load is on, it has come down to some level. Now in this process, the synchronization process is something like you need to adjust voltage, which is equal to this wind voltage, frequency and theta. Then finally you sync it. Then you adjust to nominal values, turn off the dump load. Then if still there is a rise in wind velocity, you can turn on non-critical load. If there is a down in wind velocity, you can turn off non-critical load. And this is the instant where the generator started acting as a motor. This is where you need to take a decision to disconnect or desync the wind. So wind has disconnected here, then there is a further fall in wind velocity and it will go without any buildup of voltage. So that is the full scenario recorded in here. We can see one by one. This is a zoomed view at this instant where let's see what is this instant waveform of um, this is the zoomed version here. The wind velocity raised and it is battery is charging. So this is where the battery is charging. You can see the current is completely opposite. I mean 180-degree phase shifted. That means it is a reverse current flowing through the battery. That is battery is charging. And this is where you turn on dump load. You can see the voltage was something and now it has reached to some reasonable value that is close to the battery velocity. And these are power analyzer snapshot where you can see what is the voltage of the first one is the battery. It was running at 401, but this is at 441. And there is then you need to adjust after adding the dump load. It will come to some certain range. So 440 is at high side. Then when you turn on dump load, it comes to 387. Now you can bring this 400 to 387. So that is possible. So that's how you adjust. Then finally, so you can see here the wind was at 388 and we brought it to 390. Now it is ready to sync. Just 2 volt difference doesn't make much difference. So that's how you can sync it. In frequency also you can see it was previously it was at 50 exactly. Now we adjusted this one because it has to match with wind velocity. So that's how you can adjust frequency and it is matched. Okay, I don't want to waste too much of time here explaining the experimental results. It is the same scenario that when whatever we discussed here. Okay, so this is where the wind started acting as motor. So that's where you need to take a decision on desynchronization. Okay, so you need to desynchronize. When you desynchronize, you see the voltage waveforms are going apart. So they are free to run on their own frequencies. So this was at 50 frequency, but this gone to 49.417, and it will further degrades with respect to wind velocity. Okay, now we have seen only two things, battery and wind. We have not seen any results of 3 are operating. So when 3 are operating, this is the entire flow chart. Again, this may be confusing. So you can see this when only battery is operating, what you need to do. When you want to sync with wind, we know that it is a grid supporting mode. You have to adjust voltage, frequency and theta and make the wind to come and join it. When it comes to diesel generator, you don't have to adjust voltage and frequency. You can just take care of theta. So that is the only difference here. So this is again same. Every box has again flow chart here. So you can see this is one flow chart here, another flow chart here. So there are so many flow charts included in every box. So it's a complicated algorithm. But now we have done a complete simulation. So we again followed the same scenarios. We start BES, we connect critical load, then wind wants to come, diesel wants to come, we sample the phase difference, we adjust. So as I said, if you want to bring diesel generator, you don't need this No, sorry, I'm sorry. This is wind, still wind. So same scenario. You sample wind voltage, you sample wind frequency, then adjust the theta, then you sync it. You can connect non-critical load because you have two power sources. Okay. Now wind velocity fall. Okay, we disconnect a non-critical load and see you need to, after disconnecting non-critical load, if the diesel generator is available, we start diesel generator, ramp up. So we can set VD, FD for diesel generator, unlike wind. If you ask wind generator, give me this much voltage, it cannot give you, but diesel generator can give you. So you can do that. Then you need to take care of the theta difference. Okay, so theta difference. Now you can synchronize all the three. So that's how this entire simulation runs. Okay, to summarize, our priority is to utilize the renewable energy source. In the sense, if you can ask me how battery is renewable energy, actually battery can be fed with PV. Okay, so some other source can be there. So we are utilizing only one converter to make all the transition possible without interrupting the critical loads. Our main aim is you need to feed critical loads without any interruption, and you have to utilize more wind and other renewable energy. If there is any another renewable energy source, you have to use that one. And if there is no other go, then you have to turn on diesel generator. So when you want to do all these transitions, this is how you make it. So that's about today's session. I'm sorry for rushing because I have 49 slides. Unlike yesterday, there is 20 slides. Yeah, that's all from my side. If there are any questions, then you can take it. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, in coordination control method, we have to consider all these three parameters, sir: voltage, frequency, and theta.
Yes, sir. But as I
Uh,
said, you can rely on PLL, but you need to see the scenario. In what scenario you can rely on PLL?
Okay. So it means whether but through converter or direct wind to grid, it may the all the things is required. That
Yes.
voltage,
Yes.
frequency.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sir, any questions in the chat?
No, sir, no questions.
Sir, one more question, sir, from my side.
Yes, sir.
Sir, in hybrid power system means what, sir, actually? It means whether we are integrating both wind, PV, and diesel, and with respect to grid, is it, no, sir? Or any other things in other way? Hybrid power system.
Sorry.
Hybrid power system, sir.
Okay.
Hybrid.
See, to me, to my knowledge, hybrid is something like you have a DC grid as well as AC grid combined together. So there will be a DC grid available and there will be AC grid available. That's what I know the definition of hybrid. But if you are talking about something else, then please let me know.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And after joining ABB, there was a similar scenario that was with marine related. where you need, I think you all know frequency conversion. So most of the ships run at 60 hertz, and the grid will be at 50 hertz. So what you need to do, you need to convert this 50 hertz to 60 hertz. It is quite easy, but the thing here is, can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What happens there was in country UK. Okay, there is a city named Portsmouth. There are rotating frequency converters. We all know what is rotating frequency converter. Like you give 50 hertz supply to one motor, then you change poles of the next generator. So it is like motor generator coupled. Then by changing number of poles, you can generate 60 hertz on the other side. So they were running with this kind of setup, and now they ordered static frequency converter with just a rectifier and an inverter. And now we need to integrate these two sources together. So this is where the problem comes. When the rotating frequency converter is already feeding the load, then it is easy for the converter to go and join. But if the static converter, frequency converter is feeding the load, then the rotating frequency converter wants to come and join, then there will be a problem. As I said, the rotating frequency converter can adjust its voltage and frequency, because you can control the motor speed and you can control your excitation, but you cannot control theta for rotating machine. So that is where this thing should be included.
Okay, sir.
Maybe it is too much complicated, so no questions, or is it too clear, so no questions? I don't know.
Most likely, even someone mentioned in the chat window.
Okay.
That, I mean, something like you give less scope for doors. You explain most of the part.
Sorry.
You give less scopes for for doors. Most of the part you already explained even before someone getting the route.
Okay. Thanks for the compliment. Yeah, if not in this topic or yesterday's topic, anything, please let me know.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Jain. Sorry to join late.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I think your presentation is already completed.
Yes, sir.
Really sorry. Got busy with something else. So you discussed today on microgrids, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good attendance. Around 43 participants are there. Wonderful. I think it has been explained very well. So there are no questions. I think nobody is coming forward.
Yes, I was thinking there'll be some questions from you, but I didn't know that you were there.
Good.
Right, sir. So probably then there are no more questions.
Okay.
So
in general, any questions, if you want, we can take, or we can close the session. It's just 1 hour. Okay.
No, I think participant can send email in case they have any question later on, and Dr. Dastagiri can reply to them. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Once again,
right.
I thank you for the opportunity. Thanks, Vardhaman Engineering College, for inviting me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. It's a wonderful lecture even yesterday. Sir, as you mentioned, I have one doubt from yesterday's lecture. I mean, somebody was asking that Shall we have to
Sir,
recharge the battery after, I mean, when that battery gets down to 20% or like that? So my question is that it's about laptop batteries. While using the laptop, should we keep that power on, power supply on, or shall we have to charge and discharge continuously?
Actually, I think Lenovo, they have some option where they will charge it to some 40% and they can keep it. They don't fully charge it. So that option is there in Lenovo. I don't know with other laptops. That is good because you're not using, you are bypassing the battery. You charge to certain level so that if there is a power interruption, at least that with 40% of battery you can manage something. So that is the reason they keep that 40, and then you can run with this one. But other laptops, if there is a proper BMS where it can take care of overcharge, because when it is completely charged, if it is capable of bypassing the power directly to the other sources, then it is fine. But if it is continuously trying to push charge into the battery, then you can see some heat. If you see there is a more heat during after overcharge, then it is better to disconnect.
Okay, sir. Right, sir. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, sir.
With that, I can conclude this session. And we have one more session by Dr. Jain sir tomorrow. That's the last session of this FDP.
Okay, so are you inviting all resource persons tomorrow because it is closing session, or is it not required?
Yes, sir. We are thinking for that, but I think the first two speakers may not be ready for tomorrow. I will let you know.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot, and thank every participant.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.